What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I finally finished Stranger Things Volume 1 of Season 4. It took me about almost a week now, and I was going to make this video a spoiler talk video, because it's been out for a week. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it by now. But I thought, maybe some people are in the middle. These are very long episodes, so I thought might as well make it spoiler-free. And then if anyone wants to talk about spoilers, maybe, DM me on Instagram or something like that, we can talk about it. But so this will be a spoiler-free review. If you guys enjoy this video, please make sure to like it. Please make sure to subscribe if you are new. This video will be me talking about the things I like about the show, maybe some things that I didn't like too much, or maybe some problems I have with it, and then I'm rating for it at the end. So let's get into it. So one of my favorite aspects of this new season is the amount of horror that is in the season. I'm a huge horror fan. I especially love 80s horror, and this season is filled with it. Stranger Things has always been a scary type of show. We've had scary aspects to it, as we have this mysterious sci-fi vibe filled with Demogorgons, which are, creepy sort of creatures. But this season has body contortion, gore, blood, blood coming out of people's eyes, eye sockets being gone. Broken bones, real horror stuff that maybe kids that used to watch it during season 1 and season 2, maybe they shouldn't watch season 4 because it might scare them on a good level. So for me though, I loved it. I thought it was such a good job of delving into the horror. A couple times I actually felt scared. Like always, the soundtrack is good. I know that one song, Running Up the Hill, is now #1 on iTunes. That song will always be synonymous with Stranger Things now. When it's used at the end of episode 4 of Dear Billy, that was definitely my favorite part of the show. I think it was everyone's favorite part of the show. It's all over TikTok now, but it was super well done. It was perfect with the music, the nostalgic factor, everything that happened in that moment was perfect. And that's my favorite episode. Dear Billy is my favorite. The last episode did come close, episode 7, but I do have to say Dear Billy was my favorite. So the horror aspects were great. I think the CGI was super impressive. How to make the Vecna, the main villain, everything else with the upside down, it all looked a lot better, especially towards the end when we get those bat creatures. It looked really well, and that's kind of where most of the money probably goes into. They dumped a huge amount of money into the show. I think every episode was around $20 million each, which is crazy for a TV show, especially on an episodic level. $20 million for one episode, that's pretty crazy. But you can tell it was worth it though. The CGI looks so good, and they had to use a lot of it for this season. We spent a lot of time in the upside down, and we want to make it as realistic as possible. And this is Netflix's baby in a lot of ways. This is what put Netflix on the map. I think this is its first big hit on Netflix. So the fact that they want to give it so much devotion and time and money, I think it pays off in the season. So now for the story aspects, I thought the story was really good here. A couple of problems, not so much with the story, but with certain characters not having as much screen time as I personally want them to have. We start out in the season where all of our characters are sort of separated, or a lot of them are sort of in these pocket of groups. As we know, Eleven has moved away from her boyfriend Will, so Will's in in Haydenfield still. While Eleven's somewhere else. And then as the season goes along, it's sort of Nancy and Murray are going after Harper. We have Eleven, Maya Hawke's character, Max, Lucas, Dustin, Steve, Nancy, and they're doing the main plot points of everything. They're the main focus of this season with that chunk of characters, which is good. I love all those characters. That was really well done, the story with them. But then we also have other characters like Will and Mike, who were a huge part of the show from the very beginning. I feel just put on the back burner. There's a couple episodes where they're in the forefront in terms of the romance with Eleven, especially with Will. But then they're not really that important for the core of the story. They have a couple of cool moments. There's that one scene where they're being protected, which I'm not gonna go into spoilers, and it's directed very well, and they're the main characters of that scene. But for the actual story and looking back on the season, I feel they just didn't do too much. And so that sort of upsets me, just because I think they are, some of the most important characters for the show. They were there when it all started. So, that sort of annoyed me. There's a bunch of new characters, which I thought they were pretty good for the most part. We have one character named Eddie, who's probably the most important new character. He was the head of the Hellfire Club. And he plays an important part. I actually liked him. He grew on me. In the beginning, I thought he was fine. And then as the story goes along, he becomes more important. I thought he was fine. There's one new like comedic relief character named Argyle, who's pretty much just like a stoner kid who's just there for comedy. And like if you guys know me, like I just know the comedic relief characters right away, and they just always feels forced to me. Like I like my comedy to be more organic in a dramatic series. Knowing that this character is just there for like the comedy aspects, just I'm sure a lot of people love him, so like I don't want to comment too much on him, but like he's just like I don't care, you know. I care more about the story and like the main gist of characters, right? So yeah, I thought the story was good. I thought the flashbacks involving Eleven were amazing, especially towards the back half in the last couple episodes when everything gets revealed and there's all these, you know, it was really well done, and it sort of like ties the whole like all of it together, like every season together with the reveals at the end with Eleven's flashbacks, which I wasn't expecting. I didn't really think that they would find a way to sort of like tie up some loose ends or to make some things make a little bit more sense in terms of Eleven's backstory. And I love that they did, because there were a couple of holes in her story. Not really holes, but like stuff that you want to know more about, right? And so I think that this season did a great job of filling up those holes and, you know, making us learn some more things that will reveal some new things that, you know, I can't even talk about those flashbacks too much without spoiling anything. So let's stop talking about that. I would say my favorite character for this season was definitely Max. Sadie Sink does a great job. She's a great actress at such a young age, even though I think she's 20 now. And she's playing with this high school kid, but she does a great job. I'm excited to see her in Darren Aronofsky's new movie that she just got announced to be in. I think that's really exciting for her. But her character is very different from the previous seasons. You know, spoilers for season 3. After she lost Billy, it took a toll on her. Like, she's a lot more of a serious character. She has a lot more trauma and baggage, and we see that in this season. And the fact that the whole episode 4 is pretty much about her and what she's going through. And I think just that is why I walk away from this season with her as my favorite, because of episode 4 and what happens with her and seeing her trauma and how she deals with it. She was amazing in this. And then the final thing I'll say about like something that I liked, just again for the story, I think it just flowed really well. I think it was like meant to be like somewhat confusing at times throughout watching it, like in terms of like the motive of the new villain, the Vecna villain, sort of like why is he doing this, you know? And like I sort of had that in the back of my head throughout the whole season. I'm like, they haven't really explained like how this thing just came about, or like why is he doing this or whatever, right? But then by episode 7, like it literally confronts all of your questions that you might have and answers them. So I love that. I love that they literally, it was like they took like the questions out of my mind and confronted them and answered them. So it was perfect for me. I absolutely love that. And then, so my only problems, like I said, was having Mike and Will and Will's brother, Jonathan, sort of on the back burner of the season while they were like in the forefront in the first couple of seasons. I was sort of upset by that. But, you know, like the new characters that are in the forefront, or like, you know, 11 being in the forefront, like obviously that makes sense. Like I love those characters, so I didn't mind it too much. And then when you have like Jim Harper, Joyce and Murray, their whole Russian thing, I didn't love it. I thought it was fine. It definitely had some great moments, especially there with Harper. You know, he's trying to get out of the prison. You know, that's kind of like all it is. And then Joyce and Murray are trying to get him out as well. So it was fine. It just wasn't like my most, like I didn't find that the most interesting aspects of the show. Like when they would come on, I was fine with it. You know, Murray, I do think he's kind of annoying. I don't love Murray. But like it was fine. And then towards the back end with Harper, like right when he's about to get out, you know, like and all that stuff that happens there, like that was really good. But like throughout the whole season, whenever they were like showcased, I didn't like love it. I wasn't like in love with that storyline. But so that's pretty much all I really have to say before I give my rating. I'm trying to think anything else that I really want to talk about. There's a cool cameo in here that I love that I hope a lot of you pointed out. I love that actor. To see him in here, it's perfect vibe, perfect placement for that actor because of what he's done. This season was a lot of fun, and it raised the stakes in a lot of way. My adrenaline was pumping a lot of times, especially at the end of Dear Billy. Fleshed out a lot of the new characters, fleshed out a lot of the old characters, and that's pretty much it. So my rating for this season, for at least the first 7 episodes, is a 4.5 out of 5. I think after these next 2 in July 1st, this will become a 5 out of 5 season for me. I'm hoping. You never know. But I think that these first 7 episodes were great. I don't think it was perfect. I'm not going to give them like a 10 out of 10 or a 5 out of 5 yet. but I do think with these last 2 episodes, it could make this season a 5 out of 5. And then now that we only have one more season left to go, I think they're going to end at season 5, which I love. I love that they know where they want to end this. They don't want to like drag it out. I think that would be so dumb for this show. Like this is already one of my top shows of all time. I think it's definitely one of my top 5. So I'm just really happy that I don't think they're going to butcher this ending. A lot of the shows nowadays, they don't want it to end. They want to like keep the hype going, like we see with The Walking Dead. So it's sort of like, I love when shows know where they want to end it, and then they end it. It's a nice coherent storyline. So that's pretty much it though. Let me know what you guys think of season 4. Did you love it? Did you not like it that much? Comment down below. Did you finish it? Or are you still on your way of watching it? I hope I didn't spoil anything. I don't think I did. But it's kind of hard to talk about the season without spoiling too much. But definitely the horror aspects were in the forefront here. And the story was great. So many twists and reveals at the end. And just trying to figure everything out was a ton of fun. So, and the runtime I didn't hate as well. Every episode was like an hour and 10, hour and 16. Last was an hour and 40. It didn't feel that long as I thought it would. It really went by pretty quickly. Now, let's see if I say that for the very last episode, it's 2 hours and 40. That's kind of long. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it. Please subscribe if you're new. But I will see you on the next episode. Have a great rest of the day.